Okay, let's talk macrosomia. So what is that? That's technically the medical term for a big baby. And what do they consider a big baby? Big baby is any baby that's over 8 pounds, 13 ounces. Now, the numbers say that the percentage of women that have babies over 8 pounds and 13 ounces is about 8%, which I'd venture to say is not accurate. But as a society, we have grown and become bigger humans. Why? Because of growth hormones given to the animals and the milk that we drank. So back in 1950, men were 5'8", 5'9", and women were 5'1", 5'2". So the average size baby was probably somewhere between, I don't know, 6 and 7.5 pounds. I don't know if you've noticed, but as the years go on, we're getting bigger and taller. So I'd venture to say the average length of a baby probably was somewhere around 19 inches, where I would say now it's probably around 20. I digress. Let's get back on the topic of macrosomia. How do they diagnose this before the baby is born? Because the baby's inside the mom's belly. You can't possibly know the exact weight of a baby when they're inside of the mom's belly. So some of the ways that they do this aren't necessarily accurate. So one of the first ways that they do this is fundal height. They're going to see how far your belly's sticking out, and that should correlate with how many weeks pregnant that you are. So if you're 27 weeks pregnant, then from here to here, they're going to take a measuring tape and it should be around 27. Now, some people are measuring a little behind 25, 24, and they might freak you out like, oh my God, your baby's not growing fast enough. And then some might be measuring at 30 and they're saying, oh God, wow, you got a big baby. What they're not taking into account is what position is the baby in when they're taking your fundal height, because you can take fundal height at 10 o'clock in the morning and then take fundal height at 10 o'clock at night, and you can get two different numbers because the baby is in a different position, which could potentially make you bigger or smaller, depending on what position the baby's in when you measure the fundal height. Number 2, manually filling your belly. There's a lot of OBs and a lot of midwives that have touched many pregnant bellies, and they think that they can tell you the exact weight of your baby by feeling the belly. Nobody can tell you your exact weight of your baby until your baby comes out of your vagina. So don't trust that number. Number 3, ultrasounds. This is the biggest one that they like to use to scare women, just in general, right? Whether it's the amniotic fluid levels too low, too high, or baby's looking too big or too small, or whatever they want to say to you to scare you with an ultrasound. I will tell you that usually they measure the abdomen to try to figure out how big your baby is. And if your baby has just ingested a bunch of amniotic fluid, then their abdomen is going to be nice and big. And they're going to say, wow, that is a 10-pound baby, or that's an 8-pound baby and you got 2 more weeks to go. That's going to be a 10-pound baby. And they're going to freak you out. Ultrasounds are usually off by up to 2 pounds. So again, don't take that word for it either. So I've told you how they determine that you have a big baby, but what I haven't said yet is that having a big baby is actually normal and it's okay. And your body is going to produce a baby that your pelvis is going to pass, right? So I'm sure you've heard a lot of trauma and a lot of horror stories from women who have said, oh, I had a C-section because my baby was stuck in my pelvis. Let's get into that. What causes a baby to get stuck in the pelvis? Because if you've ever been diagnosed with macrosomia before the baby's born, which they can't technically diagnose until after the baby's born, but if you've ever been diagnosed with a big baby, you know that your OB has started freaking you out. Oh, we're gonna have to use forceps or a vacuum, or hey, let's schedule a C-section at 38 or 39 weeks, right? Just save you the trouble of having to have a baby out of your vagina. They like to use shoulder dystocia. And let's talk about shoulder dystocia and what that is. This is when the shoulders get stuck in the pelvis, right? And while this is very rare, it's about 0.5%, less than 1%. of babies born have shoulder dystocia. A lot of OB training is made to teach how to treat complications, right? But not how to prevent them. So how can you prevent shoulder dystocia, or what causes shoulder dystocia? Because I can tell you this, it's not a baby being big. That's not what causes shoulder dystocia. 99% of the time, a baby gets stuck in the pelvis because the labor was disrupted or intervened. So what does that look like? What does that mean? 1, disruption and intervening can happen as soon as they tell you that you're gonna have a big baby and it's gonna be dangerous. So what does that do? That all of a sudden that puts fear in your head, right? So you're like, okay, well, I was gonna try this natural birth, but now I am super scared because my baby's really big. So once you have fear in your head going into labor, and you don't understand that having a big baby is normal, the oxytocin is now going to be blocked, which is going to disrupt that natural, beautiful flow and process of labor, which is going to allow your body to respond to that oxytocin and allow your cervix to dilate and the baby to come down and all the things, all the beautiful flow that happens in labor. It's disrupted before you even go into labor because they tell you that you have a big baby. So my job right now is to get rid of that fear. Next, a 5-pound baby can get stuck. How does that happen? Right? When you're in the hospital, you're offered all sorts of things. You're offered the epidural, and then once you get the epidural, that's gonna block all the natural, beautiful process of labor because all of a sudden it stops that flow of oxytocin. So now you need synthetic oxytocin and you need Pitocin to help labor activate again. Pitocin is gonna make these contractions like really strong and really intense, and that stresses the baby out. And the baby's like, whoa, I was just trying to like get in here real nice and slow maneuver, but now I'm being pushed and now I'm being forced. And you're laying on your back, or maybe you're assisted in one other position with the epidural, which is not free movement. So free movement in labor is super important because you can allow your hips and your joints and your pelvic bones to move freely so that the baby can wiggle its way down during labor. So free movement, super important. Epidural will block all the natural hormones, but also enable your ability to have free movement. And now you're gonna need synthetic oxytocin, you're gonna need Pitocin to help move things along, which is gonna make the baby get squeezed way more than they would in natural labor. So let's talk about prevention or leading up into your labor, things that you can do. 3 Sisters of Balance, Google it, look it up. Spinning babies, 3 Sisters of Balance. This is an amazing 3 things that you can do, you know, in your pregnancy, throughout your pregnancy, especially towards the end there, that can allow the baby to be in the best, most optimal position for birth. It can actually help turn breech babies. It's amazing. And once the baby's in a great position and you're doing, you know, the forward leading inversions, which is part of it, it's helping release pelvic floor fascia. Like, it's amazing. So as nature designed, our bodies will grow a baby only as big as we can pass through our vaginal canal. We're not gonna grow a 17-pound baby if our body can't pass a 17-pound baby, right? I mean, you see women who are 5 feet tall, 100 pounds with a 6'5", 240-pound guy, and they have a vaginal birth with that baby. That baby's not gonna grow to 20 pounds in the woman's body. The body is only gonna grow a baby that she can pass. And it might be a little bit of a bigger baby than she would have grown with someone who was, you know, 5'11" and 190 pounds, but that doesn't matter. The body is not gonna grow a baby bigger than you can vaginally birth. So when I hear women getting scared into C-sections or induction, hello, talk about getting a baby stuck. let's throw the freaking book at a baby that's not ready to come out right now. That's, don't even get me started on induction. That's a whole nother video. But talking about inducing you because if you wait another couple of weeks, your baby's going to be that much bigger and harder to pass, or scaring you into a C-section, especially like a C-section at 38 weeks. Like, seriously, like that's, come on. But I digress. You shouldn't be scared into doing something that you don't want to do because of the size of your baby. I can tell you that your body is creating a baby that you can birth. And there's ways that you can assist yourself to birth this bigger baby. The main one for me is don't intervene with the labor process and free movement. Get educated. Take my class. Contact me. I don't care. I'll help you. Anybody. Reach out. I'm here to help you get rid of all of your